The Dark Forest is the warrior cat's equivalent to hell. It is where most evil cats go when they die. Broken Star, Tiger Star, Ashfur, even if it took the last one a little while. The Dark Forest is a miserable place. It is often described like a hard-to-move-through swamp, where no prey runs and everyone starves. There is constant violence, reflecting what the cats enacted onto others in their lives. Exactly the punishment deserved for such evil cats. So, would it surprise you if I said I find the Dark Forest to be inhumane and an improper one-size-fits-all solution to having evil cats in the afterlife? Let's go over why the Dark Forest is flawed. Before we get started, if you are new to this channel, please think about subscribing. I regularly post both Wings of Fire and Horror Cats content, so you'll never be bored. And to my current subscribers, thank you so much for supporting me. I wouldn't have gotten here without y'all. Now, without further ado, let's move on to the first reason why I find the Dark Forest inhumane. First, we need to see how cats get to the Dark Forest in the first place. Sometimes cats simply appear in StarClan or the Dark Forest. This is seen most of the time in the Dark Forest, with Mapleshade and Tiger Star both waking up there. Other times, another cat, likely one the cat knew in life or was related to, is sent to retrieve them. This only seems to happen with StarClan cats and in tragic cases, such as Mosskit. Perhaps this is because otherwise they would become ghosts, haunting the land because they were not able to succeed in what they wanted to do in life. Some cats started in StarClan, however, are then sent to the Dark Forest. If a particularly controversial cat is sent to StarClan, then a jury is made, as seen in Squirrelflight's Hope, in order to determine whether that cat can stay in StarClan. The problem with juries is that individuals are flawed. If a cat has a specific bias against one cat or against one crime, what are the chances that they won't poison the jury against them and spread lies about them? Even when the place that they will go to in the afterlife is automatically assigned, the forces of the universe are uneven in their justice. For example, Frecklewish got sent to the Dark Forest for not drowning herself to save Kits. Clear Skies / Skystar did not get sent to the Dark Forest, despite allowing One Eye to attack a Kit, exiling wounded and disabled cats who could not survive on their own on 3 occasions, preventing medical treatment for those wounded cats, and stealing his son's romantic interest and then mocking him for it. One of these cats is clearly more evil than the other. Some other cats who got sent to the Dark Forest for minor crimes include Lilystem, a cat who was bitter at having to retire early due to a disability, and Brightflower, who believed that Yellowfang killed her kits and went to StarClan due to her hatred of Yellowfang. Those last 2 Dark Forest residents were retconned / assumed to have never happened because of the Great Suzanne Schism. But the inclusion of them to the Dark Forest in the first place shows just how insane the rules are, and how in-universe, cats can be sent to the Dark Forest for seemingly nothing. Let's talk about Juniper Claw for a second. Juniper Claw poisoned an entire fresh kill pile with the intention of poisoning SkyClan. However, it ended up not killing a single cat. His final action, which led to his death, was sacrificing himself so that a kit and a warrior could live. He repented for what he did and understood that it was wrong. And yet he still goes to the same place as unrepentant child murderer Broken Star. Inconsistencies like this bug me. Another inconsistency is whether almost killing a cat gets you sent to the Dark Forest. In Juniper Claw's case, yes, he tried poisoning an entire clan, but none of them died. In Ashfur's case, he tried to kill 4 cats. Not with poison, but outright murder with his own claws. It may be the number of cats or StarClan Yellowfang's rose-tinted glasses, but Ashfur got into the StarClan despite attempted murder and also the murder of Firestar, which he is culpable for. Another issue inherent in how cats are sent to the Dark Forest is that cats who die in the Dark Forest go there. That might not seem like much of an issue. Cats training in the Dark Forest are likely to be training there because they are evil. Except, most of the cats training in the Dark Forest aren't evil. We went over that in both Dovewing's Silence and Crowfeather's Trial. They were oftentimes apprentices, around 12 to 18 in human years, promised skills and attention that they weren't getting from their mentors and other clanmates. One cat sent to the Dark Forest for being a Dark Forest trainee is Antpelt. In life, Antpelt wasn't that noticeable. He trained in the Dark Forest just like Ivypool. He attended a meeting where Tigerstar described the plan to take over Forest, and is described as looking pleased. That doesn't mean he is evil. Tigerheart, later Tigerstar, and Hollowpaw, later Hollowflight, were there as well, and both of them turned on the Dark Forest and fought alongside the clans. Antpelt could have done the same thing if he lived long enough. Antpelt later enters a training session with Ivypool. Ivypool looks fondly upon him, even thinking that, I like Antpelt, he doesn't belong with these evil cats, when she caught him at the meeting. Perhaps it is because of that sympathy that he was killed. Due to them not fighting each other harsh enough, Thistleclaw steps in. He wounds Antpelt so severely that he dies over the course of a couple long days, and Antpelt ends up in the Dark Forest. Antpelt committed no crimes that we know of when he was alive. He didn't kill kits, hide herbs, or incite battles. He was an innocent, kind cat. Even when he became a Dark Forest cat, he was kind. He continued to not fight as hard as he was requested, and held back in training sessions. That later gets him killed a second time, this time by Ivypool. Antpelt was sent to the Dark Forest simply for the crime of training and dying in the Dark Forest. And it's not just Dark Forest trainees who can be sent to the Dark Forest just because of where they died. It applies to any cat. If, say, a vengeful Dark Forest cat pulled a cat who wronged them into a dream and killed them, their victim would be stuck there as well, with no way to return to StarClan, a concept I will explore later. Another complication of cats being in the Dark Forest is the nature of the Dark Forest itself. While in the Dark Forest, a cat can start forgetting parts of their life, starting with obscure details and ending with their violent acts. One cat who's been exposed to this process is Snowtuft. Snowtuft had spent so long in the Dark Forest that he knew nothing outside of it. Besides that, he maybe lived in ShadowClan when he was alive, and he was unsure of that as well. Imagine being punished for not even a crime that you can't remember, but a crime of which's nature you've never been told. How are you supposed to reform yourself from a punishment if you don't know what you're reforming from? Even if a cat did improve like Snowtuft eventually did, there is no way for them to be accepted back into StarClan. Cats who attempted murder and cats who killed kits and tried to exterminate entire clans alike are given the same sentence. They cannot go to StarClan. This is unfair to the cats within the Dark Forest who try to improve. Juniper Claw reformed himself and sacrificed his life once, proving that he had improved, and almost died again, proving that once more. But he's still only given a job as a ferryman, instead of being allowed to see his loved ones again. Because cats are not allowed to go to the StarClan if they improve, there's no incentive to improve. This is enhanced even more by the culture of violence in the Dark Forest. Improvement is punished immediately by peers. If you are kind or stick your tail too far out for another cat, you will be killed for it, as seen by what happened to Antpelt. A cat could possibly choose to live on their own, however that doesn't guarantee their safety. Any cat they meet would likely be hostile to them due to the nature of the Dark Forest and its factions not liking any cat who may possibly stand in their way. In summary, it is just punishment for the sake of punishment, with no chance of rehabilitation or growth. As we all know, the warrior cat's afterlife system resembles traditional Christian notions of heaven and hell. Though StarClan originally started off as just ancestor worship in the books, slowly the mysticism and their power dwindled over the course of the book series and left them as just a place of rest, which has little control over prophecies or the world at large. Their lack of control was proven with the three being more powerful than them, despite their powers not being anything actually powerful, dare I say. The introduction of the three changed them from being gods to just inhabitants of a spiritual realm, or rather, heaven. As I said, that aligns it with the Christian depictions of heaven and hell. However, most Christian depictions of heaven and hell have very little basis in the Bible, and are actually more so based on the mythology of Dante's Divine Comedy. In those classic epic poems, heaven, purgatory, and hell are multi-tiered. The more severe your sins in life, the more severe your punishment in death. People who lusted are lost in an eternal hurricane, while those who are treacherous are frozen into a lake. A similarity shared between hell and the Dark Forest is that there is no way to rise up. However, in purgatory, the next step up, there is still a way to rise up eventually to reach heaven. Like hell, purgatory is organized into different sins. However, all people in purgatory committed lesser versions of the sins committed in hell. There they are punished, but less severely than in hell, and they are given a chance to overcome their sins, and by doing so, they can eventually go to heaven. Warrior cats is like if purgatory and hell were combined, as cats who attempted murder or submitted to fear and failed to save kids are placed in the same environment as those who committed parricide and child murder. They are punished the same way, and like them, are doomed to never go to StarClan. Warrior cats lacks the middle level for morally gray cats. If they had that, then perhaps situations where cats go to the wrong place, like Ashfur, could be avoided. The Dark Forest could be made into that place. By allowing Dark Forest cats to seek redemption, you allow for rehabilitation for those who put there for minor crimes, and justice for those who simply died there and were doomed to be there in death as a result. The Dark Forest needs reforms. I thought that in the Broken Code, there would be an overhaul of how the afterlives were governed due to Ashfur's reign of terror. However, that never ended up happening, though the Warrior Code was changed. It severely disappointed me. I still think change could happen in the future, especially considering one of the main characters now has a positive familial connection to a Dark Forest cat. But who knows? Those were all my thoughts on the Dark Forest. I find it to be a one-size-fits-all solution that allows for no room for improvements for redeemable cats sent there. In the future, I hope that cats have the chance to go to Starkland despite where they initially started in the afterlife. What do you think about the Dark Forest? Does it need to be changed, or is it fine as is? Comment down below. If you like this video, feel free to subscribe. I make Wings of Fire and Warrior Cats videos pretty often, and your support would mean a lot to me. And to those who've already subscribed, thank you for your continued support. I wouldn't have gotten here without y'all. Peace, Rogan out.